Okay, so now we have our mushrooms cooking. We're going to put in our onions and start them. And we, of course, we don't need that many onions, as I said, because we have the onions in the onion rolls that we have, our New Yorkers, along with the challah, which makes our stuffing. Then we're going to add some butter. I like to add, you know, when I'm adding a little extra because I like the flavor of having that little bit of extra butter. I started out actually with the olive oil, but then I added a little butter too. So you get the flavor of the butter, but you don't get the burn from the olive oil, and they're a really nice combination, and it works good when you're cooking. And then we're going to chop our vegetables, and I want to chop these very small. Don't forget to chop these small because don't forget, you're going to put these into a muffin, and you don't want to come out with just one big chunk of carrot or something in your mouth. You want to have it so that everything melds together beautifully when you're, you know, when you are tasting everything. And you can cut them small, but they will. I'm always looking for skinny carrots in the grocery store. I'm that one woman looking for, give me that skinny carrot. I don't like big carrots. They're hard to cut. So anyway, you put them in there. We're going to put everything. I like to use the scraper. These things are wonderful. You can cut with them. You can scrape with them. And then we're just going to saute everything together beautifully until it's done. And it's getting, and by the way, when you're cutting, always cut with your fingers in so you don't cut yourself, because when you're talking like we're doing right now, it's so easy for the knife to slip, but if it slips, it'll slip over your knuckles instead of take your finger and put it in the stew. So anyway, that's what we're doing today. We're gonna let this saute a little bit before we add our other ingredients. And always, of course, at every level we add, I like to season as we go along. Every layer should have its own seasoning. So we're going to start with a little bit. And by the way, this is another thing. The higher up you go with your salt or your seasoning that you're using, here's your pepper, the higher up you go, the better coverage you get. So you don't, it's really easier to cover everything when you do it that way. So start up a little bit higher. And of course, because this is Thanksgiving and it's stuffing, we will be using a lot of sage. I like the dried sage in this. Forgive me, I know that a lot of people like to work with the fresh, and that there is a place for fresh sage in many recipes, but in this one, I think the punch of sage is much stronger in the dried. You get a better taste of the sage. So I like to use the dried, but of course that's preference. You can use whatever you want. And of course, always salt to taste. Your palate is your best recipe book.